Welcome to Lore Bytes. In this series, I break down Overwatch story topics and lore topics for you simply and quickly, so you don't have to do the digging. For these videos, I round up all sources of known canon Overwatch lore and add some speculation in as well. If something is speculation, it will be flagged, otherwise assume all of this is canon lore from sources, which I'll cite as well. In this episode, we simply discuss the topic of what an Omnic actually is. People have varying definitions of what an Omnic actually is. Very simply put, I'd say it's a robot built by or from a facility, such as the Omniums of the Omnic Crisis, that was previously owned by the Omnica Corporation. You should see Omnics as a brand of robot. Presumably, in the Overwatch universe, there are other companies making robots and technology. Omnica is one of these. We know Omnica Corporation made Omniums from the Overwatch launch blog, whose contents are also in the Collector's Edition sourcebook. Sentience or self-defined intelligence shouldn't be part of the definition of an Omnic necessarily. Although the Omnic Crisis was labelled after the production centres and company that was at its core, robots don't have to be sentient to be defined as an Omnic, I think. Although post-Crisis, we haven't seen any non-sentient Omnics or non-self-intelligent Omnics as far as I know. Next, where do Omnics come from? Omnics were built by Omnica Corporation to varying forms and specifications. Before the first Omnic Crisis, Omniums, factories of automated construction machines and self-improving software algorithms, had been installed on every continent. Previously heralded as a breakthrough in manufacturing, cracks began to appear. Omniums began to break down, and analysis showed that the marketing was better than the company's promises. They'd never meet the corporation's promises of growth and output, and Omnica was forcibly dissolved after evidence of fraud was uncovered. All Omniums were shut down, but years later, they woke themselves back up and immediately launched a military campaign against all of humanity. The first Omnic Crisis had started. No single country, no matter how powerful its military, could actually shut down a single Omnium. This led to asymmetric warfare being tested as a solution with the formation of the original Overwatch strike team, which we'll cover in another video. What kinds of Omnic actually are there? There are at least 3 distinct forms of Omnic that we know, perhaps a 4th, and there may well be more. The first form is Bastion units. These were the foot soldiers of the Omnic Crisis, churned out in huge numbers by the Omniums, and are still a feared symbol of it to many. These were seen all over the world at one point, and even one rumoured lone Bastion unit, apparently curious to the world around it, has come into conflict with humans on his travels. Humanity definitely mistrusts the Bastion unit as a symbol of the death and destruction of the Crisis. The second form we've seen is the more humanoid form. There are various different iterations of this, but we've seen 2 quite prominently. The first is that of Zenyatta, Mondatta, and the monks of the Shambali, although we can also see normal Omnics living day to day in King's Row and other places. These have varying amounts of spots on their headplates, perhaps indications of function, design or rank, we're not quite sure. The second form we can also see in Hero and Alive, and it has antenna. The third form of Omnic that we've also seen is the Titan. With Torbjorn Lindholm and presumably the Ironclad guild he worked for inputting into the design, these were created as skyscraper building construction robots. The Omniums, or the self-intelligent force powering them, repurposed them into giant fighting machines, and we see these in various trailers, Torbjorn's comic, and even in the memorial in Volskaya Industries. Now the 4th potential type is the giant Omnic Diva is mentioned as fighting in her biography. This sounds bigger than a Titan, and returns readapted each time, but we don't know whether this is actually a Titan or not, or indeed how it's repairing it itself. It's somewhat of a mystery. There are also other robot forms and models in the world of Overwatch that we see, particularly in the levels, but we don't know their relationship to Omnica Corporation currently, so shouldn't classify these as Omnics. Presumably, more than one company in the world is making robots. How do Omnics live today? After Overwatch shut down the Omnics command and control protocols to end the first Omnic Crisis, it seems many Omnics still remained active and sentient as individual entities. Omnics have shown they can take different paths and choices in thought. Mondatta and Zenyatta took different paths in their approach to Shambalism, for example. Omnics live all around the world today. In some cities, such as Numbani, they have coexisted together happily with humans, and celebrate in celebrations such as Unity Day. In others, such as Australia, they were given their own reservation land until the Australian Omnium's fusion core was destroyed by the displaced outback residents of the Australian Liberation Front. In recent years after the fall of Overwatch, however, Omnic existence has once again come under threat. Across the world, anti-Omnic tensions have surfaced once more, and as Russia is locked in conflict with the reactivated Siberian Omnium in the present day, anti-Omnic sentiment is on the rise. From pitched battles and street fights in King's Row, to even violence against single Omnics as far away as Dorado, Mexico. With Mondatta's recent assassination in King's Row removing one of the key advocates for Omnic rights and Omnic and human coexistence, it remains to be seen what lies in store for Omnics in this day and age, as Atlas News dubs the current state of the world, rightly or wrongly, a second Omnic crisis. Thanks very much for tuning in to my first Lore Byte episode. If you like this video, please do like, comment with what you'd like to see next in terms of Overwatch lore topics, and subscribe. Do let me know what you thought in the comments below. This is a new format for me. I've got so many cool topics that we can cover, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Overwatch lore you'd like broken down in a really simple fashion. If you'd like to see more lore videos, hero lore, world lore, voice lines and interactions, and much more besides, please click the link on the left to go to my lore playlist. Thanks very much for tuning in. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.